I'm excited to have Jeni Bukolt on our Business Spotlight series this afternoon. Jeni, I'm so glad to have you joining us and representing the Haven Creative Agency. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your business.
Oh, thank you for having me. Haven Creative is really a communications consultancy. We help our brands, our clients communicate so they can connect to their core audiences and then ultimately catapult growth, whatever that growth means for them, their business goals.
Okay. And what's the structure of your organization to be able to accomplish that mission?
So our structure is defined by our core service offerings. So we have creative team, strategy team, a digital team, and our accounts team. And what's great about it is we are remote because we found that talent is all over the country and we're
That's
able to
right.
plug in what we call mavens, experts at what they do to provide the best service to our clients possible. We do have a home base here in the Charlotte region, but like I said, we have mavens across the country to serve our clients.
I know one of the benefits of technology, especially in the digital space, is the ability to reach clients at any location based on whatever the avatar is. But interesting to think about that from a team forming and kind of performing perspective as well, and presumably as well as productivity, just because of time zone differences and those types of things as well. Is there a challenge in working in that environment that comes to mind that those listening can potentially get some insight from and how to get ahead of a little bit?
Yeah, that's a great question. And absolutely, there's always a challenge when you're working remotely because of communication. I often joke that all problems in business start with communication. And so when you have teams working in their own offices, you're creating physical silos. So making sure that you're very consistent with your communication and efficiently communicating in order to get projects done is critical. One of the tools that we use quite a bit is our Google chat rooms. So we have different chat rooms for our various clients. We can work through those things. We also have daily huddles. So every morning at 9:30, we are jumping in on a call as a team, the nine of us, and talking about what we're working on for that day, what our stucks are, because we might need to connect with a team member offline
Mm.
to really solve that issue. Again, it comes back down to communication. You cannot communicate enough, especially when you're working remote.
And as you think about your services to your clients and being in the branding and communications space, customers in rating their own satisfaction with their customers leverage something or use a industry standard called a net promoter score or an NPS. And how do you feel in getting ranked and kind of online rankings compared to getting ranked from a customer perspective of a service provider like in the NPS, kind of how those fit together and potentially how that communication, your focus internally, reveals itself externally and how your customers rate you?
So, how do I feel about NPS scores in general and then online
And the
rankings?
communication linkage, especially in respect to what NPS looks at, but how your internal culture allows you to rank also highly with your external customer.
Sure. We're really proud of our NPS ranking, which is very high, and the reason it is such, I believe, is because of the service we deliver, and it all comes back to overly communicating. We have a special way that we communicate with all of our clients, and we have a guarantee about no buzzwords or BS. And it's a snarky way to say we just want to make sure that we are educating to empower our clients. They know what they're getting, and there's a lot of clarity and transparency around the marketing efforts. And I think when it comes to online, the Google reviews externally, you're seeing that service, and that's why we have the
Mm-hmm.
five-star Google reviews. You're seeing that um, our clients are happy with the service we're delivering because we're being so transparent and clear. And internally as well, it comes back to our brand ethos, which is making mavens. Ethos is just a jargon word for how we operate, how we do business. Making mavens to us is all about educating to empower. And that could be our peer, our partner, clients, vendors. We think of the other person. So we're making sure that we're delivering clear results. We're helping educate them if something's unclear, and we're having their backs at the end of the day to make sure that they can achieve their goals. So when we operate that way internally, we take care of each other. We have a really tight
Mm.
company culture and have a good, strong community in that way. And then we do that with our clients. like you mentioned, now we're getting referrals and new business, and our NPS score is higher.
Yeah, I think when you just walk the walk, it's easier to talk the talk on the outside. It's just part of who you are, and therefore it portrays itself to your customer. You've talked a good bit about the learning and really that ability to understand the what's in it for the client, right? We think about some
Yeah.
of the personality profiling that we do, and it takes it a step beyond the golden rule and goes to the platinum rule, which is how they want to be treated versus treating people how you want to be
Yeah,
treated. So
right.
very powerful concept there. And to use terms that people get, and you just called that out a little bit, at the simplest level for those listening to the first time hearing NPS or Net Promoter Score, what does it measure?
Right. So your net promoter score is, would you do business with us again? And would you refer us to someone else? Those two simple questions, even when it comes to hiring talent, right? Would you work for this company again? And would you refer a friend? Are great measuring sticks against how your company is performing.
Absolutely. And as you think about your company and as it's evolved over time and working with clients to generate more business, obviously digital avenues are roads we drive down on the regular. In the evolving technology landscape, what are some things that you and your team are going to have to continue or are actively learning more to stay ahead of to be able to bring cutting edge solutions to your clients?
That is a great question. And the thing that's on everyone's minds is, how is AI going to impact our future in brands and in marketing agencies now that, you can create a prompt and pop out a marketing plan? So I look at AI as a tool that we can use to be more effective and efficient in our work, but that it still takes the mind of a marketer and a brander to understand how to properly prompt the tool and use the tool to get the greatest impact out of it. But one of the things we're working on now, staying ahead of the curve, is how AI is impacting search results. So as a branding and communications agency, a lot of search happens because of content that we create. So we could organically boost a client's brand up on that search list. Well, now we're seeing AI summaries creating that spot at the top, right before the websites are
Yeah,
hitting, which
see
is
that
gonna,
at the very top of the
yep,
section, and it's insightful
exactly.
for
It's
the average
it's
searcher.
Yep, it's going to create an impact. So now it's going to be much harder for brands to stand out online, and we're going to have to create innovative ways to stand out. And so we actually have an innovation L10. So L10 is an EOS kind of terminology, but we have an innovation meeting every month that we pull all of our team members together and discuss ways that we can, whether it's a new product offering, service offering, how we can be innovative in our market and stand out.
And if you think about something, the tenure of your company again, remind me, Jenny?
Sure. So officially, we're in business since 2015. So we'll hit 10 years this May. But of course, I did start on my own back in 2012. So between 12 and 10 years.
Very good. So certainly just an acknowledgement, of a track record of a decade. So applause there, business and business ownership is
Yeah,
certainly not easy. And as you think
not
back
easy.
over that 10 years, and this will be kind of a final thought that'll probably spur some conversation in this particular episode of our Business Spotlight series, what would you tell the Jenny 10 years ago that could have or would have potentially helped, and therefore could help those that are looking for insights by watching this at a later time? What would you tell the Jenny of 10 years ago, or even five, kind of that growth strategy that you've realized now and look back to that time when you were getting going?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I would
I can
probably tell
figure
my
if you could pick one.
Right, right. No, that's fair. I think business, being an entrepreneur, is a roller coaster ride that we choose to get on. There's very high highs and very low lows. I
Mm,
think when I was in the low, and even back when I started, if I could remind myself that there is going to be a high to that, and that moment's not going to define it, but it's all about learning. It's not winning and losing. It's not failing. It's learning, and knowing that you're going to come up out of those death valleys and the pits of the roller
absolutely.
coaster, that everything's going to be okay, because it all does play a part in the bigger game of just learning how to run a better business.
And I think one thing, if we can remind ourselves, still sitting here pretty much at the beginning of a new year, just coming into the 1st of February this year, And we've set these goals at the end of last year. And I think that we have a tendency in business ownership, and there's certainly been some things that are changing as far as the economic landscape, right? And so things will come up. And we have a tendency in business, we'll start the year with high ambition, and we'll sustain and retain where we started. And we'll end the year not having lost and sometimes feel like we've actually gained. But in reality, we're kind of back where we began. So, kind of in closing thought, if you kind of had a quote that comes to mind, or someone inspirational, kind of a quote that comes to mind, or a motivational phrase, or something that makes us think about the fact that we need to continue to stretch, right? And so to be able to take ourselves out of our comfort zone, and our success formula, we talk about dreams times goals times learn, then plan, act. Because without that knowledge gap being addressed, we're staying the same version of ourselves. And to become that next version of ourselves, of course, we have to stay in challenge. So a very long-winded question, maybe a nugget or two in there, I would hope. But as you think about a quote that you kind of live by, or something that you commonly are stating to your team, what would you end us with here, Jeni? And thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for having me. And I'm very purpose and passion driven. And a quote that I live by is, you can't put a price tag on going to work and loving what you do. I've never chased a paycheck. I didn't chase revenue. I chased my passion. And that has led to the best business partnerships, team members, which ultimately does end up with revenue and living the life that you love, but going after the passion first.
Absolutely. And back to that success formula, it didn't start with goals, it started with dreams. And so if we can continue to set our gaze just beyond our reach, and in this series, hopeful that some insights have been shared. We again are so appreciative of your time and applaud you for that anniversary, so to speak, and what you and your team there are doing. Thank you for joining us on this episode of our Action Coach Business Spotlight series.
Thank you so much.